Weather Kingdom. In this update, we are going to be taking a look at the latest tropics. So there has been some interesting information on Humberto and currently actually Depression 9. There has been a lot of different changes lately in just the last hours. It looks like now South Carolina, at least right now, North Carolina is a check mark. Virginia is a check mark. The East Coast for a check mark. The only thing I would say is not a check mark. So I'm going to kind of explain here in colors here. So we're going to start out with the color palette here. I want to take a look. So I'm going to highlight pretty much everything that we need to do. So, nope. Okay, good. So, we're only doing a quick update. I'm not going to be too much on this. I'm kind of wanting to give you guys the latest update, and that will be it. If you are new, please like and subscribe and share this with your friends and family. Update on the tropics. Alright, welcome back, Weather Kingdom. Sorry about the quick going into it all. We're kind of just taking a look at everything. We got what's up. I'll be answering your guys' questions in just a second. Just give me 1 second. We are going to be pretty much taking a look at everything. So I'm going to be highlighting where I think the safe areas are and where there's still that little possibility, honestly, on some things. So just give me 1 second. We're just taking a look at everything. So alright, welcome back. Is the Tropical Depression 9 going to be a hurricane? Yes, it will become a hurricane later in its life. In the short term, no. Okay. We have quite a bit to talk about. So just give me 1 second. Humberto looks to be re-strengthening, I guess, from the Eyewall replacement cycle. Actually, right now, it is not strengthening. I would say, in my opinion, it is not. So basically, the latest updates right now we are taking a look at is, I want to show you guys. So if you guys are anywhere in this part of the East Coast, it's green. This is a check mark, okay? I would say yellow would be generally even, I would say yellow that's still in watch is South. I know you guys might be asking why. It's South Carolina and Georgia. And then I still would have parts of potentially Florida right here. And then I'll probably put this as yellow right here. So I'm trying to just make the coloring here. And then pretty much the Bahamas right now dealing with the fellow impacts of the storm. So this is where I think the impacts will be as of right now. Again, welcome back, everybody. Just give me 1 second. Alright. So this is where the impacts will be. If you guys are in the pink, you guys are expecting potentially tropical storm conditions. In the yellow, generally just some rain. And even parts down here, maybe even some tropical wind gusts and stuff. But Georgia and South Carolina, you guys actually have gotten away from the cone. I am not expecting a landfall anymore. But there is some interested stuff that I'm still watching. This could play out in 2 case scenarios. And we're going to talk about that with the National Hurricane Center. But they do have this getting very close to Bermuda as a hurricane. So we will have to continue to watch this. It is moving north at 7 miles an hour. I do expect the miles an hour to go up pretty significantly in the next couple updates that we could still watch this. Okay? To the question of, is this going to become a hurricane? The latest guidance generally has this becoming a Category 1, even some into a Category 2 hurricane. So this is expected to gradually strengthen, and I do think this will gradually strengthen. All right. Let's try and get some more people here involved with this. 1 second. Alright, 1 second. I'm just getting everything set up here. Okay. So, that's the latest guidance here. And I want to take a look at Dapia, because I know we are very... Actually, I want to take a look at Recon. So, this is latest Recon. They generally have found that the Tropical Depression 9 is actually moving a little bit more west in the latest frame. Looks like the latest dot is here. And if you take a look at that in the last hour or so, we have seen a little bit of a shift in the low level center like this. That will mean a lot, because let's say that continues and the low level center kind of goes like this and then goes like this. We're talking about a much more of a westward track than it going like this. That will bring more tropical storm impacts across Puerto Rico and these parts of the islands. Okay? That's something that we will have to watch. If you guys are new, please like and subscribe. What's up, Senor? Yeah, crazy games. Look, I don't think it's going to make a landfall, but it will bring impacts, okay? That's what it's looking like right now. So when we take a look at shortwave, actually, let's take a look at mesoscale. We're going to take a look at mesoscale. So this is the latest mesoscale, and in today's frame here, it actually, Tropical Depression 9 looks a lot better, regardless. So it looks like our low-level center is right here. All right. That's where it is. Currently, you could tell because it is circulating right back in here with its wind barbs. And then coming back in here like this. So this is where that low-level center is. And this is actually doing pretty well in the frames, because you can actually see some banding features. There's deep thunderstorm convection wrapping around here. Looks like some thunderstorms right here. We got some banding features trying to develop over the Bahamas. Some deep thunderstorm convection, especially on the northern side here. That is pretty much wrapping around. This is not a bad structure for some pretty good intensification, in my opinion. It still has a pretty good chance to intensify. My question is, how far does it do that? All right, so I want to take a look at weather-wise, because we do have some radars in the way here that I would like to take a look at. So when we take a look at weather-wise and kind of do this, pretty much this is that weather-wise. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, there's that low-level center. Not really there right now. We kind of see it right there spinning a little bit. There's even some lightning strikes, so that's watching that. Definitely some heavier rains, parts of the Bahamas, gusty winds. And this is expected to go through as a 45, 50 mile an hour storm. And then probably up here, this becomes a 60. So this is going to become a pretty strong storm. But the National Hurricane Center, I think, has it turning too quick. I don't know. Because I want to take a look at the long-range satellite. And kind of go here. So this is the satellite imagery right now. First off, this is Humberto over here. It is doing an Eyewall replacement cycle. But my question is, because right now, why the models have trended for this piece of energy to do this and then shoot out, or even more like a right turn, is because Humberto right here is out ahead of it. So let's say the Humberto is right here and this storm is like right here. Humberto is already starting to weaken the ridge and starting to do that. But there's some still indications that if Tropical Depression 9 can quickly intensify and move a little bit more north, this could get a little bit closer like this. Instead of it turning like right here, I could see still in this general environment where I'm circling is where it could still make its turn instead of over here. Could it make it even a little closer? That's a little far-fetched right now, but I do not think. There's that little bit. So if Humberto moves faster than Tropical Depression 9 and starts turning out ahead of this while it's like over here and it's already turning here, yeah, this storm will completely follow the National Hurricane Center. But I think it's still that room of possibility that this gets a little bit closer than expected. This is a complicated forecast, and we'll have to just wait and see. When we take a look at the latest model data, most of them is out to sea, okay? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's definitely in the 12Z. Here, we're waiting on that. So, basically, right now, Humberto is a little bit ahead of this. The NAM has this pretty close. But let's say, for example, Humberto is like over here, and this is right there. This will probably make it a little bit farther north than the National Hurricane Center. So now it's kind of that race of if Humberto can slow down or go a little bit more west, and this storm to shoot up north. Because if this storm, Tropical Depression 9, can actually intensify rather quickly and farther north a little bit quicker, even by a few miles, it will take a more northern track before it makes that turn. Because it's because of the steering. But the NAM has it turning about at this point once it makes it to the Bahamas. But from last run to this run, it did move about 20 miles north. And the reason why is look at Humberto. Humberto starts making that turn a little bit quicker. And it's a little bit more south. So that's pretty much the bigger thing is Humberto going to do that? I don't know. But then you could tell it shoots north at this point. And then generally and then it does like a Fujiwara effect. But either way, Bermuda will get absolutely crushed if this case scenario happens with a lot of rain. Okay? I mean, a lot of rain. That's the NAM. But I want to take a look at the HER, for example. This is 12Z, HER. And the HER has its generally going to the Bahamas, becoming maybe even a strong tropical storm and hurricane. Yeah, welcome back. Pretty much just talking about this. And then the HER has this going a lot further north, actually. It has it not making its turn until all the way up here. I can see this solution playing out. It's because of Humberto stays a little bit further south and farther away and less of a Fujiwara. And it gives this storm to, instead of turning here or here, the HER makes it all the way up here. That would bring tropical storm watches into, or at least some rain bands of this into North Carolina and South Carolina and make it a droopy day. So it's that still, I want to just watch it throughout today. The HER has it generally doing something like this. Okay? Do not mind the strength on the NAM, but the NAM starts to turn a little bit quicker like this. a little bit farther north than the National Hurricane Center. When we take a look at the FV3, I'm just taking a look at all models. Generally, this one makes it a little bit farther north than the National Hurricane Center and then starts doing that turn. Okay? It would still bring some outer bands into the Carolinas, but not as what we were thinking a few days ago. Another thing here is the WRF. Let's take a look at the WRF. These are some mesoscales, by the way. Basically, Humberto's still leading a little bit ahead here. But I'm wondering, because look at that. The WRF has it going a little bit farther north. But look at the Bahamas. We will be live throughout tonight because this is going to be impacting the Bahamas regardless. And look at that. The WRF has it about stopping halfway between Florida. So I do think it's still room for this to go north in the track than expected. Okay. This is the WRF 2. Has a little bit more southern and starting that turn a little bit more early. But it does quickly intensify. The Argent has it a little bit farther north. And then making that northern turn and then out to sea. So I'm very curious if what's going to happen in throughout today. Because that will be the tiebreaker. Okay. The Icon generally has this going into the Bahamas. And actually making it pretty far north. A little bit closer to the Carolinas. And that's because of these are kind of tied in with each other. So if these two systems can kind of go at same speed and kind of tie each other, this will make it farther north. But the Icon in the latest run has it a little bit like this. But it does have a little bit further north. So it is a complete different track. What we were thinking 2 days ago. But this is still going to bring, regardless, impacts. Maybe not as bad as what we were thinking a few days ago. But this is still going to bring impacts, okay? Latest GFS is kind of makes it go halfway of Florida, more north than the Carolinas Bullock. But see that? Humberto's a little bit out ahead. So that means this storm is going to start making its turn. And then look, Bermuda gets directly impacted right there. And it is starting to show that the tropical Atlantic is not fully done yet. There is some indications that we can actually see a bit of another spin in the Bay of Campeche. Pretty interesting stuff here. Look at that, a little spin in the Bay of Campeche, But it does look like that boundary front could spark a weak tropical disturbance in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay. So the Atlantic is not fully done yet. That I would say. This is the latest GFS. There it is. Show that little spin in the Gulf. And then it has a lot of boundary fronts. And maybe another tropical wave here. Tropical storm right there. Maybe another wave off the Carolinas. It looks like the tropics ain't fully done yet. We could definitely spin out a few more named storms before the end of the season. But this is by October 14th. So we'll have to wait and see. I will be doing a coverage after these two systems. We will go back to our normal coverage on the tropics for the rest of the season. Because I am starting to work on the winter outlook for the entire United States. So we will be slowly but surely transitioning into the U.S. pattern and severe weather. And kind of see how things go. When we take a look at the latest hurricane models, pretty much, let's take a look at that. This is the latest HRF. Has it generally going a little bit farther north, a little bit farther away, but it has it stalling just off the coast here. But I would like to see, and then it has it going out to sea. The HMON has it going a little, it stays pretty weak, honestly. And then look at it. Goes about right around halfway between Florida and then go out to sea. halves A. That has done alright with it. Generally has this going on about halfway and then turning out. 9 here, about halfway and then turning out. This will bring impacts to Bermuda if this case scenario happens. Major impacts, actually. Pretty intense impacts. It is. Let's take a quick look at Humberto. I know we forgot about Humberto. There is an eyewall replacement cycle going on right now. Look at that. The eye is pretty much covered in. But look. Inner eyewall is right in here. This is outer eyewall. And you can see it on visible. So the inner eyewall will continue to weaken. And I do expect a much bigger eyewall. And the winds to expand in a bit. Look at that. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive right there. So look at that right now. So this is what I'm talking about. So it looks like... Yeah, Humberto is out ahead of it right now because Humberto is right here. Our low is like right here. So Humberto is out ahead of it for now for a little bit. My question is it going to start shooting north? If it can go here and Humberto moves here, now, I mean, it's going to be a race. Right now, Humberto is winning the race. So this is likely going to go out at this current time. But I would like to see what happens here in the next little bit. Look at that convection trying to blow up even further along this storm here. So we should just wait and see. Just watch it. I'm very curious. Look at that. This is our low. Our low is, oh yeah, some convection blowing up right near the low level center. Pretty impressive right there. Yeah. Look at the latest GFS. Likes to spin a little tropical depression into the Louisiana. Right here. Let's take a look at the broad tropics. That's interesting. That little spin right there in the Gulf. I want to take a look at that quickly. That's pretty... yeah, there's a little spin right there. Look at that little guy spinning. But there's a lot of dry air currently in the Gulf. So I do not think that will develop. Look at that. 1,002 millibars in the latest pass. So it did strengthen a little bit. This is probably almost tropical storm now. I would say. National Hurricane Center. (1,002 millibars in a tropical. Wow. Still moving 7. This is moving 13. 150 now. So it has weakened. Still category 4. Strong 4. Let's take a look at the other model. Yeah, Canadian's generally out to sea. Actually, Canadian. Look at the latest Canadian. That's a little bit interesting. A little bit further north. But then, yeah, see that? A little bit further north. So I want to like to see that little trend right there. I want to see if that becomes a progressing trend as this keeps going. Because the further north it goes, we will have to watch. Look at that little piece in the Gulf right there on the Canadian. But it does die out. But look at all that backup precip right here from Humberto and stuff. Makes a pretty impelling line right there. Eyewall replacement cycle still going on Humberto. We're really watching, we will be live tonight. So stay tuned to that. We will be live tonight. If you guys are new, please like and subscribe. That'd be very greatly appreciated. I want to take a look at Zoom Earth quickly. I want to see the cone in Humberto. Actually, Humberto's moving a little bit further to the north of the cone. I noticed that. Yeah, Humberto's a little bit further to the north on the cone. That is a little bit interesting because if this did start making its turn a little bit early, this could have less of a Fujiwara effect, and it could bring this guy a little bit closer. $90. Huh. Post-tropical. Wow. What else is going around? Alright. I want to quickly take a look here at Euro. Yeah, Euro has it staying pretty weak and just getting slingshotted out. Because Humberto does that. Huh, look at that. Central American Gyre. On the Canadian. We're going to have to watch that because now with these two systems going, look at that. Canadian likes a Central American Gyre system to get going. I don't know how true that is. That's for October 6th. GFS. Nah, GFS just sees that one weird tropical wave right there, but huh. European, I want to take a look at the MJO going into October, because I know we are... It does get into a period of favorability in October here. I don't think the tropics are fully done, you guys. Because the MJO on the Euro has been showing this, where, especially around the 8th, October actually stays pretty busy with the MJO. And that could spark some Central American gyre stuff. I'm not ruling it out because GFS, let's take a look at that, keeps interesting. It keeps this quite weak. MJO, European forecast. Look at that. So, where are we right now? Huh. It goes actually in deep into phases 2. Back out. This is the 12th of October. Back over phases 8. Interesting. Yep. Interesting. What else can we take a look at as we are waiting on the development of Humberto, of imelda? Yeah, core's definitely moving. I would say core's starting to wrap around in here now. I like to see if a blob of convection can take over the core, because that will quickly drop pressures and help this intensify. But there is definitely a forming tropical storm in the Bahamas as of right now as we speak. While Humberto is just being Humberto. Look at that eye. The eye is shrinking. Yeah, looks like the outer eyewall is trying to take over. I would like to see how this looks in the later on before I go to work. I will go live before work and give you guys another update on this. By the way, if there was not another system there, this storm would have slammed those areas. Oh yeah, look at that. A little bit of a up the East Coast type stuff. Huh, interesting. Yeah, Central American Gyre likes it with the Canadian. I like to see how that plays out. I like to see. Huh, the European likes a piece of system in the Gulf in early October. Interesting, interesting. I kind of just want to wait and see how this looks this night, in the night. There's not too much else to talk about, because we are kind of just watching of the involvement. I'm interested. It's just entering here. It's really not that far off. If this can go a little bit of a westward jog, and this can get up to like here. You know what I mean? It's not too far off. Good outflow on this, in my opinion. Very good outflow. There's just some dry air right now, inhibiting it. Yeah. Woo! Deep, yeah. It doesn't look like a bad tropical depression. It's definitely getting its act together now. It's not an eye. Imelda hasn't even formed yet. We're just taking a look at this. I mean, there's definitely convection right near the center. I want to see if we could get some more thunderstorms right near the center, because that could I want to see it. That would help to push it. Look at that. Also, another quick thing I want to take a look at, because I know the models ain't going to pick it up. I want to just show you guys here. Just keep you guys updated. So, we could see this kind of parallel the Bahamas instead of going north. Because with this eyewall replacement cycle, all it's doing is making the wind field larger. So when we had the wind fields probably like this, now it's probably like this. The wind field is getting larger. So what does that do is it pushes imelda to go in this direction. Alright? It's not going to go towards Florida, but it might actually tweak a little bit to the west, closer to Florida than previous thought. Because with it's doing its eyewall replacement cycle, it's pushing that storm, instead of going further north, it is pushing more of a, it's pushing its wind field, it's pushing its environment into imelda. So we could see this tweak a little bit to the west like that. And also, why I say that is because it is generally moving like that. So it's going to help to push this fella closer to Florida with the eyewall replacement cycle, because it's growing larger. Thing that is usually happens with eyewall replacement cycles, and I want to keep an eye on that. Steering maps, there it is. Steering maps generally right now is Humberto will continue to generally move like this, and then Humberto will shoot and then out. But with this guy here, there's our little thing. It's going to generally move about. This is a little bit old with that L. That L is old. This is old. Never mind. My bad. That's an old map. There's not too much else to talk about while we're just waiting on soon to develop imelda and future tropical waves. This is Duro minimum though. We're in Duro minimum now. Not into this afternoon. Yeah, look at that core. Definitely convection blowing up on the northern side of the core. It's definitely starting to pick up speed here, though. So I'm really going to watch this because look at Humberto. Eyewall replacement cycle. So easy to see. Oh, wow. That's caving in. Look at that. That's crazy. Just take a look at Humberto. It's literally... Its eyewall is getting completely... Look at that. His eyewall is getting completely destroyed. What's going on here is, look at that. This is the eyewall inside. This is the outer. Look at the outer. Getting stronger while the inner one is going to soon choke off. Yep, the outer eyewall is strengthening. So I do see that happening soon. Yeah, eyewall replacement cycle. It's probably going to take the rest of the day, honestly. My question is this going to help Humberto to move a little bit more west? Right now, this is like the most crucial forecast. Also, let's just take a quick look at the latest GFS. Yeah, CMC is about to show. Yeah, CMC likes that. I don't know. I'm not buying that. Our center's still there. Yeah, Humberto's out ahead of it right now. That means this will go out to sea as of right now if Humberto stays out ahead of this. But I will be ending the stream in just a few minutes, you guys. And I will catch back in a little bit later before I do go to work. They're going right back in the center of this. I wouldn't be surprised if they find 1002 again.